A Silver-Eyed Girl's Godly Companion by Mr. Unorthodox, Chapter 2, Aiming High. So hey, this is my first entry in my and Ruby's shared diary. See, Summer suggested this idea to us, me and Ruby, and I thought that it was sweet, and Ruby thought so too, so yeah. Also, it's been a couple of months since our first meeting anyway. I'm here to write about what happened when we got home. That phrase feels good to say. I'm going to shorten the story. We got home. Taeyang, Ruby's dad, and Yang, Ruby's sister, nearly had a heart attack. They cried a little, noticed me, got told off what I am, what my new relation to them is. I nearly got strangled, and then we told the blonde and the blonde the story. Needless to say, the first week was weirder actually, because it's still weird, but in the good weird way, but in a good way. But I digress. Everyone has their own quirks, Yang's and Taeyang's bad jokes and puns. That lady that looked like Madara, color scheme and all. She even has red eyes. Raven, I think, was very stiff and sarcastic. That crow guy being a drunkard. Ruby's fascinations with weapons, and I guess my fascinations with the color orange. Speaking of weapons, Ruby had this idea for from an anime, a spirit consumer, I think, where I would fuse myself with her weapon. Crazy, but it works. Anyway, we were going to Beacon. Well, technically, it was only Ruby and Yang, but yeah, it was because she helped and stopped in a robbery last week, and my wife was awesome. Well, yeah, we got married. It was a small wedding, just us and her family, and our honeymoon isn't due for a couple of months yet. Also, apparently, it was family tradition that the woman from her family doesn't lose their last name, but we didn't hyphenate. But we did hyphenate our last names. Anyway, we're on our way to Beacon. Are you ready? Got everything ready? Did you forget anything at home? Do you have everything you need? Naruto asked Ruby through their bond as the two of them approached the bullhead VTOL, vertical takeoff and landing, tilt jet aircraft that would take them to Beacon, a prestigious Huntsman Academy, and one of the most famous in all of Remnant. Yes, yes, no, and yes. Don't be such a worrywart, dear. I've got this in the bag, she answered. After a few weeks of getting to know her life partner, who was now possessing Crescent Rose, she was now used to intimate gestures such as the endearing nicknames kissing and cuddling. No more than that, though, but that was completely fine with Ruby. That was completely fine with both Ruby because she thought it was better if they waited for a couple of months, and Naruto because he was happy to wait for Ruby to be ready, and he was also quite content at their current pace. On to another topic. Where were you last night? She asked with a little heat lacing her tone. Excuse me, but this is where the Naruto paused, looking at a piece of paper before looking back at the stark white-skinned woman who rose a delicate eyebrow in interest. The Queen of Grimm and the Pale Goddess live? No fear. Interesting. You're in her presence. Human, now speak your piece before I have you killed for trespassing on my lands. You're them then? While you're so, she expected praise for her beauty, her presence, or her power. Instead, all she got was underwhelming. You dare mock me, human? Do you not know who I am? She was outraged now. I am Salem, the goddess of the Grim, queen of those who lurk in the dark. She was cut off mid-rant by the human. My mother, hell, my grandmother was scarier than you, and she was a gambling drunkard. There are also the most beautiful women back at home, and there were a lot of beautiful women back home. Besides, I met a real goddess before, more powerful, more scary, and dare I admit it, more beautiful than some woman I've met. I mean, you're beautiful in your own exotic way, but what am I saying? I'm a married man. But I digress. I'm not here to discuss your godhood. Despite all her anger, she became curious. Why are you here then? She didn't get the answer she was looking for. Instead, all she got was a glint of something shining. Remember what I said about hunting some bad guys personally before? Yeah, that's why I was so late last night. He decided to give her half the truth. Oh, well, good job then, dear, she said, knowing that he was keeping something from her, but she knew that he'll only do that to protect her. Where are you, Yang? She mumbled to herself, unaware of the blonde predator that was about to pounce on her. Gah! Ruby, what are you doing here? Her attacker let go of her and stepped back, showing them to be her sister Yang. Let me guess, you were probably sad that we couldn't Yang out for a couple of years, eh? Eh? She nudged her sister with a teasing grin. Yang has long and messy golden yellow hair, lavender colored eyes, pale white skin, toned and curvy figure, and wearing a tan with a gold trim vest with puffy sleeves and black cuffs, and a yellow low-cut crop top with her symbol over her left breast, an orange scarf around her neck, fingerless gloves with her currently inactive shot gauntlets, amber silica around her wrists, black shorts with a brown belt around it, and a pouch attached to the belt, a white symmetrical black shirt, and brown boots with orange socks, if different lengths, with a bandana wrapped around her left boot. Dang it, Yang! Ruby playfully shoved her sister away. Stop doing that. Anyway, Naruto says hi. Is he here? Yang asked, looking around for her second favorite blonde, first one being her father. She got a positive from her sister. Where is he then? Oh, Ruby only pouted. Weapon. Are you gonna ask why I'm here though? Oh yeah, why are you here? She then leaned in and whispered in a playfully accusing tone. You weren't interested on sneaking in, were you? What are you talking about? Of course not, Ruby shouted indignantly, not noticing Yang's playful tone before she could hit her sister for accusing her of such things. Her conscience, Naruto, reminded her to tell Yang of her accomplishment, which made her stomp, blink, and then puff her chest out in pride. I got invited by Professor Osmond himself after I helped in stopping a robbery. She embraced Ruby once more, though a little tighter this time, only a little. Oh, I'm so proud of my little sister. God, Yang, you're strangling me. Let go. When she was free, she noticed a myriad of weapons. Oh my gosh. Look at that. She's got a collapsible staff. Oh, look at that girl. She's got a fire sword. Is that an EMP blast sword? Calm down. Jeez. You're gonna make Crescent Rose jealous. While looking at Ruby's scythe in its compact form, she leaned in a conspiratory way. Or was that your interest all along? When Ruby blushed and sputtered, Yang laughed her guts out. Jeez, I was just kidding. Anyway, instead of looking at weapons, why don't you look for a new friend to hang out with? Why would I do that? I mean, have you here with me. Me also. Naruto butted in. Yes, you too. Ruby had to repress a smile at that. also a blush. Her husband was annoyingly sweet at times. Yang was then surrounded by a group of people who were Yang's friends at Ruby's notice. Well, my friends are here and we have to catch up, so I'll leave you to it. Okay, bye. Bye. Yang blurred out as she and her friends were already a couple of feet away. Wait, where are you going? Are we supposed to go to our dorms? Where are our dorms? Do we even have dorms? I'm so confused. Help me out here. Okay. No, you don't have dorms. Not yet, at least. You'll have to go to the amphitheater first. And also, yeah, luggage 6 o'clock. Naruto tried to warn her, but she was a tad dizzy from looking around. What? Was all she could ask before she hit something and stumbled to the ground. What do you think you're doing? An angry voice demanded, whose owner was standing over Ruby. It was a girl a few years older than Ruby, with a pale complexion, snow white hair pulled up in an off-center ponytail leaning to the right, ice blue eyes with a scar running down her right one. She was wearing a pale blue bolero jacket that has a snowflake design on the back over a thigh-length dress with a combat skirt, a necklace, along with a pair of thin rectangular earrings, high-heeled mid-calf wedge boots, and a small pouch attached to the back of her dress. Was it mentioned that she was looking downright pissed at Ruby? No. Well, she is very much so. Sorry. Ruby quickly apologized, got up, and tried to help the girl servants in cleaning up the mess. Sorry? Do you have any idea how much damage she could have caused? Okay, she's pissing me off, Naruto told Ruby. Leave her be. It's my fault anyway. Ruby said back to her husband while picking up a case of dust that was a that was about to put back into the cart, but it was snatched by the girl. Give me that. This is dust, mined and refined by the Schnee quarry, the girl said in a haunted tone, opening the case to reveal vials of twinkling dust. I can see that, Ruby started to say, but the girl interrupted her before she could finish. What, are you brain dead? The girl asked, apparently dead still, but Ruby was saying, as she took out a red vial from the case and shook it in front of Ruby's face. Dust, fire, lightning, water, energy. I know the Ruby coughed because of the dust that wafted into the air and onto her face, causing it to be inhaled by her. I hope that isn't bad for your lungs, Naruto told Ruby with worry evident in his voice. Oh wait, the girl's still rambling. Are you even listening to me at all? Is any of this sinking in? What do you have to say for yourself? Because of the needless shaking of the dust vial, more dust particles flew into the air and into Ruby's nose, causing her to sneeze uncontrollably, which caused a reaction from the dust, which in turn caused a myriad of explosions right in front of the white-haired girl. Naruto laughed so hard that Ruby could feel him vibrating against her back, eliciting a shiver up her spine. While that was happening, the vial that the white-haired girl was holding flew and landed in front of another girl her age. The girl in question has long and wavy hair that's as dark as the veil of darkness, a light olive complexion that complements her yellow eyes, and a slender body. She was wearing a large black bow atop her head, a black buttoned vest with coattails, a white sleeveless undershirt that exposed her midriff, with white shorts connected to her shirt, a detached scarf-like collar around her neck, black on both her arms with a detached sleeve on her right arm, and a silver bank on her left wrist, black stockings with a purple fade at the end, Black low-heeled boots with her weapon on her back. She picked up the vial and suddenly had a scowl on her face when she noticed the Sneed Dust Company logo on the side as she was reading a book and looks over at the scene where the white-haired girl who's now covered in soot was going off. Unbelievable! This is exactly the kind of thing I was talking about. The girl angrily yelled as she proceeded to dust herself off. I'm really, really sorry, Ruby apologized, embarrassed, but the other girl continued to snap at her, furthering her embarrassment. Don't you know who I am? I am. Before she could continue her rant, she was interrupted by the bow-wearing girl. We sneaked the heiress to the Sneed Dust Company. She began causing the now introduced Sneed to puff out her chest. One of the largest producers of energy propellant in the world. Finally, some proper recognition. We said muggling, the same company infamous for controversial labor forces and questionable business partners ever since her father took the reins. The black-haired girl finished. Someone doesn't like the Schnee, it seems, Naruto thought to himself. How dare you? The nerve of... Urgh. The girl shouted, but landed in the end, tired of dealing with them, and decided to storm off. Ruby turned to the black-haired girl. So what? Only to find her walking away already. Your name. She sighed and plopped down on the ground. Why was it so hard making friends? Hey, chin up, dear. I'm sure you'll make a new friend soon enough. After all, no one could resist my wife's charm. What would she do with her husband? Thanks, dear. I don't know what I'd do without you, she said to him. Take notice of that guy, Naruto said with an amused voice. Huh? And there in front of her was the guy Naruto mentioned. He was tall, blonde, and had dark blue eyes. He was wearing a black hoodie with a white chest plate and shoulder plates, brown wrist-length gloves with exposed with the fingertips and small metal plates, dark blue pants with a white patch on the left knee, a sword on a sheath attached to his waist, and black shoe. Hey, name's Arc, Jaune Arc. The non-introduced John said to Ruby, helping her stand up. Thank you. She stood up, dusted off herself, and faced John. Ruby Rose Uzumaki, you're half vacuuming? He asked, just for the sake of starting a conversation. No. Why'd you ask? Confused she was for being asked the question. Well, that last name you said, he talked off. Ah, that's my husband's last name, she explained. It kinda does sound vacuuming. It probably is in this world, or went to that place. Some parts of it looked like home. At least probably the hidden sand. Huh, really? We haven't talked about it, have we? Ruby asked, unaware if John shocked face. No, you want to hear a story about it later after you and John find the amphitheater? Oh, sorry about spacing out on you. It was only because of that John was broken from his own stupor. It's nothing. He was about to ask her about her marriage, but decided against it. Might come off as rude. Damn, that's one crossed off of the people I'm not allowed to flirt with. Oh well. There's always that white-haired girl. She looked pretty hot. It's okay. I space out sometimes too. Anyway, do you know where we should be hopping? She nodded. I think we should head to the amphitheater. Do you know where it is? John asked as they started to walk. No, you? Ruby asked. Well, then and only then that they noticed that there were no more people around. Ah, crap. Ruby, over here. I saved you a seat. A voice called out, making Ruby swivel her head and spot a familiar blonde. Yang! A look of relief overtook her nervous one upon seeing her sister. Come on, John, let's go greet my sister, she said excitedly, walking towards her sister while dragging a surprised John by the hood unknowingly. Hey, Rubes, where have you been? Lost, thanks to you, she snapped. You got lost? Why didn't you use the Crescent Moon's GPS? The way the mysterious blonde stressed those words seemed weird to John, but he didn't care enough to say anything about it. Hey, name's Jaune Arc. Short, sweet, rolls off the tongue, and the ladies love it. Trying and failing to be soft, John wasn't paid much attention. Yeah, I'm Yang. Nice to meet you too, jailbait, she said absent-handedly. She then leveled Ruby a questionable look. So, why didn't you? Really, why didn't you ask me? Naruto asked curiously. She sputtered before trying to cover her embarrassment with a fox anger. Did you know what happened after you left? I freaking exploded. Nice save, Naruto chuckled. Thanks, I thought so too, Ruby told Naruto. Sheesh, meltdown already? Yang casted a worried exclaim upon hearing those words. No, I literally exploded a hole in front of the school. There was a fire, and I think some ice too. Ruby was practically panting by now. After hearing those words, Yang's worried expression turned into a scrutineous one. Are you being sarcastic? No one's even paying attention to me. Such was the sad existence of one Jaune Arc. I wish, Ruby scoffed and went in full-on rant kid. I mean, just after you left me, I tripped over a girl's baggage, got yelled on by said girl, got dust on my face and in my nose, caused an explosion, and then Yang interrupted before her sister could run herself ragged. Right, geez, calm down and breathe. Ruby did as instructed. You good? Good. So made any friends? Before Ruby could answer, she noticed something, or rather someone, behind Yang. Oh God, it's her, she said, pointing at the young Shini. You! Whis explained while pointing at Ruby. Oh my God, you really did explode, Ruby said in false surprise, though hiding behind that was irritation at the girl. The Shni for getting her sister blown up. She then turned to the white-haired girl. Are you following my sister? Following her hardly. I'm merely here to remind that clumsy girl that the Shni Dust Company is not responsible for any damage dealt to her or her belongings, we said while thrusting a pamphlet at Ruby's face. What's this? Ruby took the piece of paper and looked it over. Dust for Dummies and other inadequate individuals. Hey, I know all I need to know about dust. Oh, really? Then I suppose that a knowledgeable person would blow up a dust onto someone's face. Whis asked mockingly. Ooh, a zinger contest. I love these things, Naruto said exactly. Okay, Rubes, copy me word per word. And she did. Oh, yeah? Well, I suppose that a knowledgeable person would shake a vial of dust in front of someone's face like a rattle then, huh? This made the Whis blush and shorter in indignation. It might be her imagination, but Yang could have sworn she heard a loud zing from the background. Before things could escalate further, Yang tried to put a stop to things. All right, calm down, you two. You're causing a scene, and they were. The students around them could be heard either chuckling or snickering, which made both Ruby and Whis glow red in embarrassment. The one glare from Yang caused them to turn around. She faced the two embarrassed teenagers once more and spoke. You two calm now? Good. Now why don't you two introduce yourselves? I'm sure you just got off the wrong foot. Great idea, the teenage Rosa said, wanting to defuse the situation which she somehow causes. Hello, Whis, I'm Ruby. Wanna hang out? We can go shopping for school supplies. Yeah, we can paint our nails, try on clothes, and talk about cute boys like tall, blonde, and scraggly over there. We says sarcastically, jabbing her thumbs behind her, unknowingly pointing at John. Wow, really? Ruby asked with hope shining through her eyes, but faltered when Weese's kind smile turned into a glare. No, she said plainly and made to leave. Don't worry about her, sis. I'm sure you're going to make some new friends soon, Yang said to her dejected looking sister. You think so? I know so, Yang said before someone was finally on the stage. Took them long enough. Now hush, they're finally here. There on the stage were two people. One was a blonde woman wearing a white blouse, a black pencil skirt, and a strange cape while holding a riding crop. The person was a tall, lanky man with messy gray hair. Contrast to his black eyebrows, he was wearing a dark green suit, a green scarf that has a silvering cross on the front, and dark glasses that didn't quite cover his eyes. These two were Glinda Goodwitch and Ospen, a professor of Beacon and its headmaster, respectively. I'll keep this brief. Ospen started out in a distracted manner, looking but not quite so at Ruby. You have traveled here today in search of knowledge to hone your skills and acquire new skills, and when you finish, you plan to dedicate your life to the protection of the people. But I look upon you, and all I see is wasted energy in need of purpose, direction. You assume knowledge will free you of this, but your time at this school will prove that knowledge can only carry you so far. It's up to you to take the first step. As the students whispered among themselves in reaction to Osman's speech, Glinda stepped up to talk. You will gather in the ballroom tonight. Tomorrow your initiation begins. Be prepared. You are dismissed. Why can't the speeches in our school be that short? Ruby pouted. That wasn't fair. Back at Signal Academy, she was sure that their headmaster and teachers were trying to kill them through boredom. Who cares? We're at Beacon now, Yang explained before looking at Ruby. You looked extra excited though, so what's up with that? Ruby looked around before answering. Naruto said that he'd be gone in a few hours with some great news and a surprise for us. That's nice of him. Only a few months and he's spoiling you and us to death. Yang sighed. Man, you really hit the jackpot, huh? You wouldn't happen to be fine with sharing with your sister? She joked. Naruto may be an almost perfect catch, but she wasn't really into guys. Yang! End of chapter 2.